Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of DevChats. I am Jason. As some of you may know me as the Livonator. Today, we are here to talk about District M, and we don't always cover Applab games on here, but today, in my opinion, this is a very special gem that I've seen on there too, and hopefully, we can give them the best help we can to get them over to the main store because, like I said, this is to me it's really special and. What they're doing there. We'll give them a chance to talk about that shortly. Today, we are sitting here with Ashwin and Adarsh from AutoVRse. And before we get into the game itself, we'd like to know a little more about you guys. I know that the company that you guys work for they're not new to the VR sphere. You guys have done stuff for like Volvo and Shell out there. But is this like the first game you guys have done, or have you had any prior experience in the gaming sphere?
Hey, yeah, I mean, this is our first game that we've actually put out there. Um, we have, so we've been in the VR space a long time, back when the Google Cardboard first came out. So that's when we first got into VR. Yeah, the Oculus DK1 and DK2 didn't really launch in India. So we're based out of Bangalore in India, right? And yeah, so around 2015 was when we just tried the Google Cardboard. Yeah, the quality obviously was not great, but even back then we were like, this is amazing. We just fell in love with it, and we wanted to work in the space. So yeah, we looked around for like ideas where VR could solve a problem. You don't see many game studios around in India, right? And so when you try to do something off the beaten path, a startup was something like that's a framework that we could understand. And so we started looking for problems that we could solve with VR, and we found that in the automotive industry, and that's when we started AutoVRse, and that's where the name comes from. And yeah, so we started trying to build a VR design review tool for car designers, right? And that was way too early selling to enterprises in 2016 when VR was just getting started. But we worked with designers, and we were able to build super realistic VR experiences. Started off building for designers, but then sort of turned into virtual test drives and showrooms and car configurators. And as sort of knowledge about virtual reality and augmented reality grew across industries and use cases, we kind of grew with that, right? But I think somewhere in there, the two of us, we always really, really wanted to build a game. I think we just didn't know that was a thing because we never saw that around us growing up. But I think it was one specific project, I think, which we did for a client called Gojek, where we built a first-person shooter. And yeah, I think we built it in like a month or so. And when I played it, so it was great. Like I loved it. And when I compared that to most of the stuff there on the store, suddenly I was like, yeah, damn, we could do this. And yeah, so I think that kind of gave us the confidence to take the leap. And yeah, it still took us a couple months and a lot of discussions to be like, are we really going to do this? Because up until then we were like this completely enterprise focused VR firm, even if we kept doing things off like, kept experimenting with wild stuff. But yeah, so around March of 2018, almost 3 years ago, to the day was when we decided to build our own VR game. And yeah, when we started off, I think the plan was to really go ahead, make one game every year, and like really, go through the entire experience of launching an app and get launching a game on this, like, and put it out there, learn from the experience, sort of go like, do that really quick and get better with each successive game. Of course, that's not how it panned out, but yeah, I think others you should take over from this point.
Yeah.
And,
No, so that was definitely the plan. We wanted to kind of look at it from a game mechanic perspective, like things that we think would work. So we tried a bunch of prototypes. I think I'd come to GDC. I attended GDC in 2018, and then I just went around and tried to understand what a lot of the indie VR developers are doing right now. And then that also served as a nice sort of inspiration and a good comparison point as to what we're capable of pulling off and what people are putting out there. Not comparing with finished games, but games at a very early stage, right? So that's essentially another sort
Right.
of point at which we looked at and we were like, this is something that we could do. From that point on, I think it was about 3 months of just rapid prototyping. We tried like a bunch of mechanics, like a mechanic where time would slow down, kind of like Super Hot, but in a different context, a more puzzle-driven context. We tried another first-person game where your body would kind of move like and you would move depending on how your body and your headset was moving left and right. That sort of became like that was the starting point for District M. But even to this day, I do get like surprisingly having been in this space for about 6 years, I do still get motion sickness, which is
It
I
happens.
think my VR legs are not really developed. So I tend to gravitate towards games that don't kind of push like camera movement a lot. So then it was like, how do I make this first person experience more comfortable so that it appeals to more people? Right. So then that's how it turned into a third person game. And then from that point on, we started building out the world, and essentially took us a bunch of time just to understand from an art perspective as well. The art style that you see today, what it's turned into wasn't what we had in mind 3 years ago. It was a very different take on what we wanted. But then eventually putting it on the Quest, ensuring that it runs, like at a good performance on the Quest, that kind of again pulled us in a different direction. Eventually, yeah, I guess it's just true for any game dev. It's just a lot of iteration. It's just an iteration game at this point, and this is where we have ended up. But yeah, that's essentially where our journey so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that you did that in the game because well, first, before we talk a little more on that, I mean, I'll just add here, I like the fact that you did from the kind of third person and first person's perspective, but we'll get into that a little more because then you give multiple options, but we'll talk about that a little more. Just for people that aren't aware of the game yet, which they may not be, we'll have the link for it below for the demo, so you guys can go check it out. But for those who haven't even seen it yet, can you give them like an elevator pitch of what the game is?
Yeah. So District M is essentially a rhythm platformer played from a third-person perspective. What you get to do is we've tried to combine the best bits from Beat Saber in a way and Mario and try to bring that in a package that works in a very native way for VR. So you kind of move your hands around, you steer your toy skater, you make your toy skater drift and jump and dash and all of these mechanics that are fundamental to platformers, but with the added benefit of it being a rhythm game. So then you have to kind of time your mechanics and your moves to when the beat actually happens in the song. So bringing both of these genres together kind of works in a very new and interesting way, and it gets people into that flow state super quick. And then we have tried to make sure that the art and the vibe and the world and the lore that we're trying to build is playful and fun. So that's how you kind of get like a good reflection is in the art here itself in this studio. So that's essentially what the game is.
Great pitch. I like that. I love it. All that goodness in a nutshell. Yeah, I mean, the game, like I said, it's a simple art style. It's a simple play. It's jumping and basically moving your arms to the rhythm. Not too difficult because I have upper mobility issues, but I didn't even find your game too difficult to play. You're just swaying along with it. It's a nice, good exercise and flow. It's got that fun, nice music in the background there, which I'm sure you guys are going to have some fun with, with different levels and stuff like that when you're working on there. But yeah, it was just nice and pleasant. You know what I mean? I went to demo. I'm like, okay, this is, I was worried I wasn't going to be able to play, and it was, it was nice and smooth. I'm going through. Sorry, I feel like I'm just grooving along with what I'm saying here right now. But yeah, it was just a nice flow. You got the rhythm game stuff that people like. Synth Riders or Beat Saber or different games out there. Right. But at the same time, you scratch that platformer itch. For those that enjoy those kind of games too. I haven't really. Maybe there's games like that out there, but I really haven't seen anybody do that yet. So it's kind of nice that you guys went and did your studying there. It sounds like to see what was there to kind of, pick from stuff that people enjoy, but then also put your own flair and your own style in there too, as well. Which, like I said, like it's and the colors in there too. I gotta say,
Yeah.
not pleasant to the eye. You know what I mean? It's like, nice neon, not too bright, not too dull. It's a nice vibe feeling. And the demo, like I said, demo will give you a feel for those who are trying it out there, what the game is like. You did put the first person's perspective option, which I think is something you guys are playing around with right now. So if you really want to feel the speed and the move of the character in there too, you can do that. But for those,
you can do that.
like you said, with motion sickness, that'll help. Looking from the other view because you're detached from it. You're just kind of slightly following around with it, but you're more focused on the character itself. So you're not going to get that feeling really of, moving down a tunnel that will get people. I mean, I have friends too that have played for years and stuff like that affects them, and you just want to take them on like the wild rides. You want to take them on the things that feel speed, but at the same time, you don't want to put them out of commission for the night too. So it's like, I love that too. I deal with vertigo and stuff too, but honestly, I love being spun around and put me in space and flip me around and put me on endless toss there. After a little it may affect me, but it's like, I was the guy that always loved going on roller coasters and stuff like that too. So I'm a thrill seeker. No, not trying to take your name there, buddy, but I am a thrill seeker. I know that may come back to me just for saying the name there. I am not thrill seeker, but I am a thrill seeker. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I found it pleasant. But like I said, I kind of looked through the Applab stuff. There's some good ideas in there, but like yours really caught my eye when I was going through there. So that's why I want to reach out to you. I want to help to see if we can get you guys out there. Are you doing, obviously, are you guys doing stuff with any like licensed music or anything, or are you guys doing the music all in house, or are you just picking like I have to do sometimes is the non-copyrighted and other music out there you can play around with and just hopefully maybe build these guys up, right? Accrediting them or stuff for the game.
So the plan definitely is as we get closer to launch and beyond, definitely to start working with artists to get packs out there. We've already been in touch with a few, say, smaller artists to do that and I think this kind of dials back into what Adarsh was saying about iteration as well, right? The most important part about the game so far has been, so getting to this point has taken a while, and mostly that's because sort of finding that exact balance between rhythm and platformer, because both these genres have parts which when you mash them together they go really well, but also they have a few just fundamental aspects, right, to each of them which just are like in contradictions to each other. So say platformers are more strategic, tactical, you have time to stop, wait and do something, whereas rhythm is just about the flow, right? And so finding that balance has been really hard, and or rather it's just required us to kind of try something, see if it works, if it doesn't, try something else, and so that's taken time, right? And tying into the music there, I think finding the right music for the game, I think the songs which kind of they have a flow and a progression to them, but still enough repetition so that the player can actually enjoy it. Because rhythm games are kind of like every time you play. So I think if we take Beat Saber for example, or any rhythm game level, when you play it, the first time you play a level is probably when you enjoy it the least because you haven't yet understood the song, right? And then once you really get into it and you get that rhythm, it just feels better and better. And District M is similar in a way. But yeah, what we want to do going forward is like we want to work with artists who can now compose music according to the levels that we've designed. So that's something that we still have to try and we see how that works out as well. Of course, with the art style too, I think depending on the vibe of the artist and how we're working, I think there's a lot that we can do there. So yeah, the plan is, I think when we launch, we have like a fixed set of licensed music that we'll be launching with. But after that, we want to work with artists to put out packs. And so that's kind of the plan there.
Oh, neat. Yeah, I was going to ask you if you were building them, after you hear the music or along with, but that's interesting. That creates another level of challenge there too for the artist that you're working with. And
And
I have some people I
yeah,
can
and
introduce you to if you need on the outside that love doing that kind of stuff. So that's up to you. We'll talk
that,
about that outside of here. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like it's yeah, like I said, there's endless possibilities of what you can do with that, right? Because
mhm.
Yeah.
as long as you're getting people into the sway and rhythm, you could just pop out different levels forever and make it more
Yeah.
challenging.
That's
Add
that's
new different
exactly what we
challenges and
want to do.
stuff in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a smart way to build something there. You know, sometimes
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
build the experience, you go through and you do it, and some of those are really great. You know what I mean? They're heartfelt stories and different stuff like that. But
Right.
like, it's tough to keep longevity in VR games these days, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes
yeah,
you'll play the same thing over and over again. But like except for yours, it's simple enough to where you can probably build levels pretty quickly. I would guess, you know, probably within
Yeah.
like 2-3 months or something like that. Maybe I'm just saying that may not be the case. Don't take that for my word here, but yeah, that may not be the case at all. But like just you know, like I said, it's some people get super complicated with the levels and their level of detail, and they're trying to get the shine off everything. Like you have that feel,
Yeah.
but you can just make that happen and turn the objects along with the people or whatever, you know, maybe do like a light animation and make them
Yeah.
bounce with the rhythm or whatever else goes on.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
have a
Exactly.
lot of possibilities you can do with those
It's
levels.
just the vibe. Yeah, it's just the like we have whenever we discuss art or like mechanics and levels and stuff, it's essentially like our underlying philosophy is just like we just focus on the vibe and we don't bother about the details because the moment we as a small team, if we really get into the details, it's like it's a vicious cycle. It's an endless bit. And it's not something that really you don't get that payoff if you have to focus on building for the quest one and the quest two. Right. The quest is to a lesser extent because it is much more powerful. But if you get the details and you focus on that, then you spend a lot of time in that and not just on what's the vibe that you're going for with this level, with this pack. And then just focus on that and just over-index on that rather than that. So that's why you see like hot air balloons in the demo and stuff like that because we just wanted it to, essentially we had a theme of it feeling like a vacation spot and a carnival. So we were like, we can't build out. If you go to a carnival and we see reference images of a carnival, there's way too much detail to pull off on the quest. But what are the main elements that can push someone into feeling that okay, this is a relaxing place. This is a place where you can just go and have a good time, and you don't. The level itself is not going to be challenging because it's the first level. So it makes sense that maybe the theme also follows that. Right. So that's essentially that's literally what we've done, and then I think like you said as well, like the future is that like we just want to find out like a new pack is going to have a new mechanic. Like we have about 4 mechanics that we haven't put in the demo yet. Like fundamental player mechanics. Right. And then apart from that, there are all the other objects. There are trampolines, there's wall sliding, there's grinding, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So all of that we want to mix and match and understand when is the best point to like put it out. And those are the decisions we have to make now, but the fundamentals are there. It's just about the next step for us.
Awesome. Well, sounds like you guys have put a lot of thought into this, which is great.
yeah.
Um,
And to add to that, probably. So yeah, I think, and you kept saying that the demo was so easy to play and it was fun. So making it easy to play was probably one of the hardest things to do. um, so I think at the end of the demo, there is a glimpse at one of our later levels in the game, right? We called it Downtown here, where you kind of fly through a city. And
right.
I think there you can see the, so the roads get crazy. There are multiple paths, there are portals and like so many more game objects, and that's heavily populated. And yeah, I mean, I think like Adarsh and the our art team has like, I don't know, they've done some black magic to pull that off on the quest. That's just fabulous. But yeah, so we'd kind of, I think the mechanics that Adarsh is talking about, and that like as we release more levels, users are going to be able to try, like players will be able to try that as well, right? And that's kind of the core of the gameplay. Like we have a mechanic, a drift mechanic, right, where you kind of like you possess the skater, but then you kind of throw him from side to side and in sync with the music. So if you can imagine like a hanging note, you kind of like drift him from one end to the other, just like in sync with the music. And that's one of the most satisfying things I've done in VR, right? And I think so. get like we knew we had built say one of the denser levels maybe like 12 months ago, and we knew that was super fun. But then when we play tested it or got people to try it out, they were just clueless, and they weren't able to play it the way we did at all. And that's why we put a lot of effort in, and then like it's almost like we designed the super tough levels first, saw people fail to understand it at all, and then realized that what we need to do is design far easier levels to get them to get to that point. And so now that like in the demo, the level that's been released is literally the first tutorial level where you just have two mechanics, jump and steer, which are very simplistic, right? And yeah, once we add in drift, just the number of songs that kind of like works perfectly for, and even the feel of the game. I think right now people are mostly focusing on the art because it looks really nice. I think that, like we've done. I really like it. Like I play it over and over again, and yeah, I love tuning into that vibe and just going with it. But I think from the second level when drift enters, and then eventually dash and destroying objects, and then we have like an advanced jump where in the level there's in the free demo there's a basic jump, but with the advanced jump, if you swing your hands up, the skater kind of like goes even higher, and then you can like kind of slam him down. Yeah, there's also like a trick system that comes in because we wanted air time to be a thing, right? And if you kind of like do certain gestures, the skater does a somersault or a dab, and so there's a lot more coming still. Like the focus was to make the game both easy to learn and hard to master, and yeah, it took a while, but I think right now I think we do have something that we're super excited about, and I think like as more people play these levels, I think that it'll be fun to see how they take it up.
Yeah, I mean, when I did the demo after I did that flyover of the level you were talking about there, and that was pretty amazing. Like just seeing that there, I'm like, okay, I see what they're going for here. I got a little taste on the first run there, learned how to do what I'm doing with, even that first area kind of looked a little challenging too. I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. If they can do this stuff, I figured you guys would probably do different mechanics, like you're saying later on, because this is something you could really keep building on. And it'll be something unique for people, something they haven't experienced, and that's great to hear that you enjoy playing your game repeatedly, because sometimes it gets I've talked to other people, developers out there, where it's gotten tedious for them, and I gotta get there, get them a little back massage, like, come on guys, you're doing awesome stuff here, keep it going, keep it going, like we need you, we need your games out there, we need to keep building upon this. And it's a tough job sometimes, you know what I mean, but I'm there to help. But like I said, you guys don't even need that kind of push. You're already there, your mind's there, you know the direction you want to go. And that's awesome. I love that. That makes me love the game even more. Like even you talking about the new mechanics, I was getting super excited here, and I've only played the demo. You know what I mean? Like I haven't even experienced the real first level, which I know is probably going to kick my ass. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm excited to hear what's coming for it, and I've only had a little taste so far. So you guys said you're targeting quests. I guess both. I was kind of trying to gather what you're saying there. Is it only going to be Quest 2, or are you doing? Are you starting at Quest 2 and then?
No, we're doing Quest 1, 2, PC VR,
which is
PSVR
great.
works out everything. Yeah, everything.
Which is great. So you won't get a lot of the original adopters upset because
Yeah, for sure.
Gets to the point. So are you looking to do like the PC? Are you going to push this over to like the PC side too as well?
Yeah, PC VR as well. Yeah, for sure. Steam. We want to put it up in Steam and everything.
What about even, I know, PSVR too? Or not too specifically, but your game looks like it was something that could work on the original PSVR as well. Are you targeting that? Oh, awesome. Yeah, so everybody will just experience this thing.
We're in the process. Like I think this week or so, we want to get in touch and figure out what that process is like with the PSVR. So that's definitely in our roadmap as well.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, I think everybody will enjoy this. And just with the movements we had, one button and swinging, like that should work just fine on any system that can register slight movement, which is pretty much all of them, which is awesome.
Yeah, pretty much,
Yeah, because sometimes on the PSVR it can get tricky, with the lights and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
And depending on how high you're throwing your arms, you might go out of the camera view or whatnot. But the
Yeah.
same thing could happen on a Quest or anything else that has the tracking like that. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean I'm very, like I said, I'm very excited for you guys here. I know people are going to want to know the answer to this question here, and it's up to you guys if you want to answer it or not. It is a single player experience as of right now. Um, are you planning on adding any multiplayer or anything like that? Just out of curiosity, because people are going to ask that question.
Yeah. So we do, in fact, so Ashwin and I, we brainstorm a lot, and I think it's just like, it's almost like we just come up with ideas like out of the blue, in the sense of what's the next thing that takes the game to the next level, to get people to come back again and again, and kind of want to play District M for a very, very long time, right? So we have thought about it. It is in our roadmap. We've thought about a mode in the game for multiplayer where it's kind of co-op, in a sense where you play. So when you play the game right now, you're not just a camera. We're going to build that personality out. So you are a camera person. It's kind of like the dynamic you would have with your toy. It's essentially, that's the story and the narrative. It doesn't come across in the demo, but that's another area we're working on right now. But essentially, we're brainstorming, and we put it in our plan where one, you play as the camera person in this third person detached mode, and someone else plays as the skater. So it's kind of like a fun co-op mode. Like, it's an interesting take on multiplayer. We have the other option where it's kind of like you are controlling your toy, and in a way it's like toy wars. Like, you control your toy and your friend is controlling another toy, and you're both going down this path with the music playing and stuff like that, and then you have to jump, drift, dash, and do all of these mechanics and survive. But we haven't sort of fleshed that out fully. We think that this co-op mode is something that makes more sense in the shorter term. Um, but yeah, I think that's definitely, multiplayer is a big part of what we want to do in the future as well.
You just keep getting that excitement level for me. It just keeps going up the more I hear about
Just keeps
this.
going up, yeah.
Yeah,
Same for us as
well,
well.
keep thinking that way. Yeah, I could tell. I could tell just talking to you guys about it right now, which is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you guys are hyped on your own stuff, and it's just hyping me up too as well. It sounds great. Like, I can't wait to see what your minds come up with for this stuff here. So we pretty much covered a large base of the game. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about the game that maybe we haven't covered so far today?
Yeah, I think maybe just about maybe like the art and multiplayer too. I think what we really wanted was, we want District M to kind of be like a place that you go to. Like, it should feel like an actual real place in the, I mean, sure, I think like people are really kind of abusing the word metaverse now, but eventually when it does become a thing, like, I think we're going to think of like virtual worlds that you go to as places to hang out in. And so with District M, why we haven't gone for like a more abstract play style, and like everything is grounded in, I mean, sure, there are wacky elements. There's a giant like caterpillar we call Squiggly Bro jumping through the clouds, and there are floating elements, but it still feels like a real place that could exist in somewhere, right? So yeah, and like others said, so yeah, you can also see like with the demo, the first level is kind of uh, like you're in a car, like in a carnival, or like somewhere like really far away, like an amusement park. It's just spaced out, and you're just skating through it. And as levels progress, it's like you're almost getting closer to downtown and District M, where the super hard levels come in. And of course, going into the future, as long as we keep it wacky and whimsical and fun, anything that makes sense, like, we'll just keep tossing it in, right? But and with multiplayer, why we're so excited about it and we want it to be a thing is, I think at the end of the day, like with virtual reality, you want to spend time with your friends wherever they may be in these places, right? And you want to make memories with them, and you want to have fun. And so this is, I think, with a single player game, sure, we'll get, of course, like, it's always going to be fun, and you really like it. And of course, uh, like, we all have special relationships with certain single player games. But I think when you add in that multiplayer component, it just becomes like a more organic experience. I think you get a lot more memories. You start like actually feeling emotionally attached to that place, and it has like a special an importance to you and this group of people you hang out with there, right? And so yeah, that's definitely something that we want to go for. That's sort of how District M has been like designed and where we wanted to get to, where we want like the District M to get to. But yeah, of course, it's all this is super hard. We're a small team, and so we're just like we're both like super ambitious, but also trying to keep it a little measured. And so yeah, that's kind of another balance we're trying to strike here.
You're doing an awesome job, I gotta say. Like just even hearing the ideas and all that, everything else here too as well, along with it. It's just, yeah, I love what you're doing here with it. And I was gonna say something other, I blanked about it, so maybe it might come back in a minute here. But yeah, like I said, you guys got something special. But yeah, and you're also keeping it aligned too, because a lot of times here we get big ideas too. Here, sometimes they're too big for the time frame that we have, or for the space that we're allotted to work with in here to make these sets and stuff like that for you guys. But yeah, yeah, you guys are pulling off some major feats for a small team. And like I said, it's definitely a precious gem in itself that I'm super excited, and I hope a lot of other people will be out there too as well. So I mean, at least they, like we're talking about, at least they, you know, you got the demo, they can get a little taste of it out there, which is awesome. So they'll get to understand, yeah, what we're talking about here. Yeah, I got nothing but praises for you guys here on what you've done so far, and I'm very excited to see where it goes from here. Is there anything else that you guys can think of that we might have missed that you want to cover?
The game, I think we've said everything, but I think it's been, I think this is my first podcast, like, or what's the VR version of it, but it's been really awesome. I think talking to you, Jason, and the team and everything that you guys do here. I think Ashwin's been on a few before, but for me, it's my first time, so I've had it. It's been really awesome, just from the moment we joined the room to this whole part. So yeah, thanks.
Well, good. That's kind of why we do it this way. It's a little more fun. Like you can do the camera on camera. They're talking to sometimes people get really nervous being on camera. This way you can come in, be, you know, dress however you want, be, look however you want, be whoever you want, you know. Awesome. Always encourage people to be themselves, but that's the beauty of the stuff, you know. It's a more fun experience. And thanks. I know it's always weird asking people to come in Rec Room and stuff like that to come join us, because it's like, oh, we do everything at a Rec Room. It's just they have the best camera setup, and you know, like I said, all these people are used to working in here. They're highly skilled, and they love doing it for you guys too, and meeting you guys and talking to you guys as well. So yeah, I'm glad. It's a great experience for me to talk to you too. So I'm glad you enjoyed your first. I don't know what to call him either. I was on a podcast where he's asking me what to coin it here. I'm like, I don't know. Can you think of anything? I mean, we could call it like something like Vodcast or something, but it just doesn't sound right. So I'm going to be a little more creative than that. So yeah, we're broadcasting, guys. Broadcasting live for you. It just doesn't have the nice appeal that
doesn't roll off the tongue.
But I mean, thank you guys for coming in here. And like I said, hopefully we can help get you out there further for those that might not have seen you. The people I've just shown it to were very excited. They're like, oh, that looks really neat. I'm like, yeah, exactly. That was my first thought when I saw your game on there. Like I said, I looked through. There isn't a lot that catches my eye on the Applab, but like you shouldn't be on Applab, in my opinion. Yeah. You should be on the main store with this thing. And I think they'll realize their mistakes when they see that too as well. But guys, I know this is nighttime for you. We got the nice long distance, but I'm glad we found a time to make this happen. And thank you guys for coming in and doing this today. And again, I'm glad you had a great time. I had a great time. Hopefully you guys had a great time watching this. But we'll see you soon. So like I said, show these guys some love, download that demo, check it out. I don't always highly recommend stuff, but I do on this one here. So we will see you on another episode of DevChat shortly. And thanks. Have a great morning, evening, night, wherever you guys are from. And we'll see you soon.